college clerical. Come be a strong and youthful band. For God and country, freely pledge we all, led by the flag for which we stand. Blue for the mind that seeks the good and true, red for our progress in the game, white for the glory of a heart that's pure, bright with an ever-shining flame. Alma Mater, we hail, God give the us and great success. With truth and love we'll conquer all, for God our land and SFS. Alma Mater, we hail, God give the us and great success. With truth and love we'll conquer all, for God our land and SFS. With truth and love, let us united be. True to our glorious college name. High on the hill, a beacon light is she, leading our children on to faith. March on to glory is a message bold, spread truth and love both far and wide. Loyal to the hands who reigns of guidance, teacher and pupil side by side. Alma Mater, we hail, God give the us and great success. With truth and love we'll conquer all, for God our land and SFS. Alma Mater, we hail, God give the us and great success. With truth and love we conquer all, for God our land and SFS.
Days into the conference, we have come across intellectuals and experts from all over the world on this platform set by St. Francis de Sales College. They have edified us with the knowledge gained through their experiences and research. And once again, we embark on today's discourse to open our minds to new possibilities and learning. I, Esmeralda Joseph, welcome our esteemed guests and audience on the third day of the International Conference and Symposium on Indian and Global Opportunities in the Sciences and Humanities, a critical discourse. To begin today's session, we have amidst us Dr. Jitesh Tripathi, Assistant Professor of Department of Mathematics, Dr. Ambedkar College, Nagpur. He has, to his credit, 6 years of research experience with 17 papers published in different international and peer-reviewed journals and has presented them in many international and national conferences. His fields of interest encompass continuum mechanics, quasi-static thermoelasticity, mathematical modeling, and many more. Dr. Jitesh is a proficient in advanced computing skills needed for research in areas of applied mathematics. He has spanned his knowledge in developing codes in different languages such as C, MATLAB, Python, etc. Presently, Sir is working in the area of biological processes due to non-Fourier heat conduction. He is also working on implementation of artificial intelligence in real life. We are honored to have Dr. Tripathi with us, who will be expounding on his presentation, Transforming Our World with Artificial Intelligence. Over to you, sir.
Thank you very much, ma'am.
Welcome, sir.
So it gives me immense pleasure to be a part of this conference, and I'm very happy to share some information based on artificial intelligence with you all. The topic of my talk today is transformation of our world with artificial intelligence. Now, what is actually artificial intelligence? So, use of a computer to model intelligent behavior with minimal human intervention. So we use a computer to model intelligent behavior. That is, computer can decide, computer can take decisions, and so on. And human intervention is minimal. That is, just to the application of a program or an algorithm, human intervention is needed. After that, the machine becomes intelligent and starts applying its own knowledge. Then machines and computer programs are capable of problem solving and learning like a human brain. Natural language processing and translation is the next area in artificial intelligence. It involves pattern recognition, visual perception, decision making. Machine learning is a subset of artificial intelligence. It is one of the most exciting areas in which we deal with a lot of data and we try to analyze certain examples with the help of data. So it is in the development of computational approaches to automatically make sense of a large amount of data. Now, advantages of machine are that it can retain a lot of information, become smarter over time, and machine is not susceptible to sleep deprivation, distractions, information overload, and short-term memory losses, as we see in human beings. Now, what our world leaders say? As you can see, Mr. Sundar Pichai, he is the CEO of Google, and he says that AI is the main tool behind new age innovation and discoveries like driverless cars or disease detection algorithms. Elon Musk, on the other hand, he is the founder and CEO of Tesla and SpaceX, and he says that artificial intelligence will be vastly smarter than any human and would overtake us by 2025, which is not so far away. Then Barack Obama, the former president, United States of America, he says generalized AI is thinking is worth thinking about because it stretches our imaginations and it gets us to think about our core values and issues of choice. And Jeff Bezos, the founder and CEO of Amazon, he says that we are now solving problems with machine learning and AI that were in the realm of science fiction for the last several decades. So, from the statements of these big personalities, we can understand that what is the level of AI that we are looking at and how fast the area of AI is going on increasing and how it will affect the human race. Some have positive views on AI and some have negative views on the development of AI. Then these are the types of AI that we have presently. The first one is Analytic AI. It involves sentiment analysis, supplier risk assessment. Then we have functional AIs, which involves Internet of Things or IoT solutions and robots. Then we have interactive AI. It involves chatbots, smart personal assistants. We have so it involves text recognition, speech to text conversion, and so on. And then we have visual AI, which is involving computer vision and augmented reality. Now, this text AI is very, very helpful for us, for teachers and researchers, because if we have to write a very huge article, then just by speech we can write that article. There is no need to type. So this is very helpful to us. And all these services you can find on various platforms, like on Google Cloud you can find, or Amazon AWS services, Amazon Web Services you can find out, or Microsoft Azure you can find out, or on IBM Watson you can find out these services. Now, what actually we do in AI? In AI, we deal with a lot of data. Data is of two types, quantitative and qualitative data, and we have algorithms which deal with both kinds of data and try to make sense of that data. And with the help of that, we try to solve some existing problem or a problem, or we try to solve a problem where there is a repetitive nature of work, and we try to replace it with the machines. Now, what is clear? It is clear that AI powered products and services have made it into nearly every aspect of our personal and professional lives in just a few years. For example, you can say the YouTube algorithms, they involve AI. Then, when you go for purchasing or selling some item on Amazon or Flipkart, they involve AI. And likewise, so AI has, or spam detection in your mailbox, that also involves AI. So in a few years' time, it has evolved into an enormous system, and lot of processes are dependent on artificial intelligence. And as AI solutions continue to emerge and converge, that pace of change will only continue to accelerate. So as we can see that all these processes are being developed day by day, so this is only going to accelerate. So the pace at which AI is going to be developed will be increasing in near future. What is not clear? Today, it can be difficult to understand the significance and potential impact that AI has for humanity. That is, from Siri to IBM's Watson to Hollywood portrayals of killer robots, it's not clear what we should ultimately expect from this technology. Now, let us look at some of the applications of AI. So, with such rapid progress, it's difficult to make assumptions about the future of AI. But instead of focusing on the unknown, we can examine what we know about AI, its current applications, and the potential future impact. So, let us look at a few applications of AI. So, the first one is automated customer support. So online shopping experience has been greatly enhanced by chatbots because of the following reasons. They increase user retention by sending reminders and notifications. They offer instant answers compared to human assistants, thus reducing the response time. Chatbots provide upselling opportunities through personalized approach. So, and these chatbots, they can understand what we are trying to say and they can respond accordingly. So that's why they are intelligent and they involve AI. Then the second application that I'll be discussing is personalized shopping experience. Now, implementation of AI makes it possible for online stores to use the smallest piece of data about every followed link or hover to personalize your experience on a deeper level. For example, if you search on Google, then those search results are stored somewhere, and with the help of that, the user experience is developed, or user experience is increased and personalized. So, whatever you make a search on Google, that search will prompt the sellers who use AI to show you those products which you intend to purchase. So that would improve the personalization of your experience, and this is done with the help of AI. This personalization results into timely alerts, messages, visuals that should be particularly interesting to you, and dynamic content that modifies according to users' demand and supply. So according to your demand, the products will be shown to you. And let us look at the next application of AI, which is into healthcare. Now, AI enabled workflow assistants are aiding doctors free up their schedules, reducing time and cost by streamlining processes and opening up new avenues for the industry. In addition, AI powered technology helps pathologists in analyzing tissue samples and thus in turn making more accurate diagnosis. Not only this, but in medical area, if you look at AI, presently in surgeries we use console-based systems, but in future there will be independent AI systems that will be performing the surgery on a particular patient. Similarly, AI processes are used in making algorithms for disease detection, and AI technology is also being used. There are a lot of research papers which you can find online uh, based on the diagnostic techniques using the use of intelligence. So in all these areas, we can see that AI can be applied in healthcare. Then the next important sector in which AI is implemented is the finance sector. Automated advisors powered by AI, they are also known as robo-advisors, are capable of predicting the best portfolio or stock based on preference by scanning the market data. What we do in AI actually is we have a data which is a historical data. That means uh, somebody has purchased some stocks or shares in a particular amount of time, how many users purchased that stock, how many users sold that stock. So we have that amount of data, a huge amount of data, and it is all historical. So based on that, this automated advisor or robo advisor can prompt for selling or buying of the shares or stocks. So in this way, they help in portfolio management. Similarly, actionable reports based on relevant financial data is also being generated by scanning millions of key data points, thus saving analysts numerous hours of work. So as you can see, all these works previously used to be done by analysts. Now we have softwares which can perform these tasks and perform to 100% of their accuracy. Then let us look at the next application. It is smart cars and drones. Now, with autonomous vehicles running on the roads and autonomous drones delivering the shipments, a significant amount of transportation, and service related issues can be resolved faster and more effectively. So, all these things can be done with the help of AI. Then, let us look at the next application. In travel and navigation, so we have a lot of sites offering these services to us. So they all involve AI. With AI-enabled mapping, it scans road information and utilize algorithms to identify the optimal route to take, be it on a bike, car, bus, train, or on foot. So if you are using Google Maps, so you can see that a particular road is busy or it has some construction work is going on, so it is prompted to you and you can take another route so as to avoid the difficulties that you have while traveling. So this is done with the help of AI. Then the next important application of AI is the social media. Now, Facebook uses advanced machine learning to do everything from serving content to you and recognize your face in photos to target users with advertising. Instagram uses AI to identify visuals. Similarly, LinkedIn uses AI to offer job recommendations, suggest people you might like to connect with, and serving your specific post in your feed. Not limited to this only, YouTube also uses some algorithms based on AI, and with the help of those algorithms, your video will be shared with a lot of people or would not be shared with a lot of people. If some abusive language is used, they'll uh, find out that video from millions of videos that have been uploaded on the site. They'll be able to find out that video very easily. So all these things can be done with the help of AI. Then we have smart home devices, or as we know, Internet of Things. The connected devices of smart homes provide the data and the AI learns from the data to perform certain tasks without human intervention. Like you can say Siri. Siri can do a lot of tasks if you just simply call on iOS systems, on Apple systems. If you just want to make a call, you can just ask Siri to make a call to a particular person and that work would be done. So you don't have to worry about finding the number and then calling him. So similar tasks can be performed with the help of AI. You can even talk to Siri. So it tries to understand you and give the answers in the same way in which you have asked the questions. Then in creative arts, AI can be used. AI-powered technologies can help musicians create new themes. Nowadays, we have a lot of softwares with the help of which we can make new songs with the help of AI themes. So it has been seen in the past few years that a lot of songs are similar in nature. So this is done. This is because of the use of AI technology. Most of the song composers are using AI technology to make songs. So most of the songs are similar to one another. This has been seen in the recent past. So these are the applications of AI in music as well. Then AI can be used to monitor humans completely through multi-channel feeds coming in a huge number of cameras at the same time. Then we have law, AI applications in law. So this system developed by CEO is Andrew M.J. Aruda. He is the CEO and co-founder of Ross Intelligence. This system is based on IBM Watson, and this is a lawyer which can help you find the judgments for a large number of cases. So it has a lot of data, and it helps you uh, to know that if you file a particular case, whether you'll win the case or lose the case. So this is again the application of AI in law field. Then we have social sciences and humanities. So artificial intelligence has changed science, but can social sciences and humanities impact AI in turn? So this is a big question which we need to ask ourselves. So at a time when social scientists and researchers are rallying for that human touch to make AI systems unbiased, we cast a look on how social sciences and humanities can contribute to AI ecosystem and even out the imbalances and biases. So why do these biases come into an AI system? Because as human beings, we feed the algorithm with a lot of data, and the data is again a historical data. So suppose let us consider a case of an interview. We want to conduct some interviews and we have an interview bot, and we are feeding the data to that interview bot. Now if a particular group or an ethnic community or a minority or person of some caste or religion or region is underrepresented in that data, in historical data, then the machine would understand that those particular individuals are not suitable for this kind of job. So that will be a wrong interpretation by the machine, as humans would know, but the machine on its own would not recognize this thing because it is dealing with the problem based on the historical data which has been fed to the particular machine. So machine would decide that uh, those individuals are not suitable for the job, and it would not shortlist those particular candidates, and which will be wrong. So this problem can be solved if we involve social scientists or uh, people from humanities into the team of AI developers, and they can develop such systems which can remove these biases and can be unbiased and can do their job properly. Then AI and machine learning have made human lives easier, but there's no denying that if state-of-the-art algorithm goes wrong, the result can be disastrous. From actual deaths, racism, and monetary losses, algorithms have the power to create as well as destroy. So that's what I was talking about. As you can see, an algorithm can go wrong, and if it goes wrong, it can create a havoc. It can create a lot of problems. So, for example, some of the implications of biased algorithms played out in resume screening, non-judicious assignment of parole, denying bank loans to minorities or people from some caste or religion. However, experts cite these biases are a product of careless algorithm design, not malice, since bias seeps through historical data. As you can see, the bias seeps into the system due to the historical data that we have given to the system. These AI biases can be addressed with the help of social sciences and humanities. Researchers have said that biases in AI can be traced down to the similar cases in history. The algorithms are fed with data which has been collected and analyzed by humans and therefore contain the biases automatically. So a lot of biases are there in the system, but these biases can be removed with the help of social scientists and people from humanities. Now, learned intermediaries will be technical personnel to evaluate the output of machine learning algorithm and detect biases on the margins, and legitimate auditors who must conduct periodic reviews of the data algorithms with the objective of making them stronger and more privacy protective. So these will be the new jobs that will be created because of AI. So in learned intermediaries, the people from social sciences and humanities will work, and they'll evaluate the system that it does not contain any biases. They should be capable of indicating appropriate remedial measures if they detect bias in an algorithm. So if we detect bias in an algorithm, then how to remove them? So we can incorporate some wrong data into that, some random data into that, into the data that we have, so that the biases are automatically removed. So for instance, a learned intermediary can introduce an appropriate amount of noise. Noise means some wrong data or random data into the processing, so that any bias caused over time due to a set pattern is fuzzed out, said Rahul Mathan, a fellow with the Takshashila Institute, in his recently published paper, Beyond Consent, a new paradigm for data protection. After much deliberation, it was implied that in the AI field, it does not matter how accurate the algorithms are. Humans still use their fast, that is unpredictable, in their decisions. This is where a deeper understanding of the human psychology, not just neurology, comes into existence. So people from psychology also can help in developing the algorithms of AI. Philosophy, especially focusing on logic, can serve as a foundation for AI. Although you can't write formal code just by knowing logic, it will definitely make it easier to learn computer programming languages. So if we can tell our students so that they should learn computer programming languages like Python or C programming or C++. I prefer Python because Python is one of the most easiest languages that you can find, and it is of course open source. Also, you can find a lot of helpful repositories on GitHub which you can use for development of a code. And so as a teacher, we must always tell our students that you should go for a programming course, for a programming language course, so that with the knowledge of philosophy or any other field, psychology and so on, they must be able to code something or must understand the nuances of writing a code so that they can be a part of a AI team. Now, in a paper titled Explanation in Artificial Intelligence, Insights from the Social Sciences by Tim Miller, the researcher explains that more and more practitioners of AI have been asking for explainable AI. What is this? So it is fair to say that most work is explainable AI uses only the researcher's intuition of what constitutes a good explanation. There are vast and valuable research in philosophy, psychology, and cognitive science of how people define, generate, select, evaluate, and present explanations, which argues that people employ certain cognitive biases and social expectations towards the explanation process, says Miller in the paper. In his paper, Miller also argues that AI should be built on relevant research from philosophy, cognitive psychology, and social psychology. He insists that these social science topics draw out some important findings and discuss ways that these can be infused with work on explainable AI. So everything from humanities and social science to art and design has a place in artificial intelligence. To just mathematics and science, the same way that journalism is not closed off to just book reviews. But of course, if you learn some languages, it will help you in the long run. And if you know a little bit of mathematics and science, so it's going to help you a lot in AI. There are endless applications for AI that can be used to discuss human nature. Adding informations related to subject in social sciences like anthropology, sociology, political science, psychology, economics, and history, among others, leads to a richer understanding of data by the artificial intelligence systems. Now, tech giants such as Google, Microsoft, and other companies hire people from social sciences or humanities background. They want them to work alongside the engineering teams to help develop ethical AI. Social scientists contribute vastly to public policy research and an up and coming area in ethical AI, where social scientists talk about challenges in job and skills, economy, and AI will reshape it. So realistically, social sciences and humanities can be successfully applied in areas such as public policy, human resources, criminology, marketing and advertising, and strategic planning in the public and private sectors. So the future is already here. It's just not very evenly distributed. Thank you very much. For more information, and if you would like to collaborate with me on some projects on AI, then I'd be very happy to join your team. Please contact me on my email ID, tripathi.jitesh@gmail.com, and I'd be happy to answer your questions. Thank you.
Sir, to listen to your talk has been an enriching experience. You have efficiently explained the applications of AI. It throws a light on our understanding that AI has become an indispensable part of our lives. You have aptly suggested that students of psychology should also learn programming. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
If any participants have any doubts or queries, the platform is open for them to ask questions. They can unmute their mics and ask.
Hello, am I audible?
Yes.
Yeah, good evening, Jitesh sir. This is Indrajit.
Good evening.
I just wanted to know exactly what portion of mathematics will play an important role while delivering the subject mathematics to the engineering streams, which are now upcoming sunrise technologies like AI and DS. So, what part of mathematics and statistics will actually play an important role in that? I just wanted the more detailed content so that we can, because I teach to engineering undergraduates. So, because we have also these particular branches in our college now. So, how we can imbibe or induce the importance of mathematics which is related to AI and DS, such kind of upcoming branches.
Thank you, sir. It was a nice question. Now, AI basically involves a lot of linear algebra, in which we deal with huge matrices, and then it involves statistics as well, and it involves calculus, partial derivatives, and so on and so forth, for minimizing the loss function and maximizing the accuracy. So all these areas are very, very important when we deal with AI. Some knowledge of vectors. So in linear algebra, we'll be talking about vectors as well. So that knowledge is very, very important while dealing with AI.
Okay, fine. Thank you very much. Yeah, right.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Hello, am I audible?
Yes.
Uh, Memory diagram, how can it be uh, made to understand these people from social sciences?
Sorry, I did not get your question.
Memory diagram is a part of what sort of responses one problem can be there. Several problem answers are there. So how the social science people can understand this when they are employed for the AI?
Sorry. I'm not aware of it.
Neuronal connections and
Yeah.
answer.
Okay. Artificial neural networks you are talking about.
Yes, sir.
So regarding that, please repeat your question again.
Neuronal connections
Yes.
are there for giving an answer to a problem. There can be several, rather innumerable. So
Yes.
social science people, how they can get a grasp of that?
So actually, the thing is, when we talk of artificial neural network, please switch off the Dilip Savarkar sir. Yeah. So when we talk of artificial intelligence or artificial neural network, as you are saying, so it involves a lot of layers. We can apply layers to solve a particular problem. We give the input and we get the output. But the calculations which it does in those layers is not known to us. It is known as black box calculations. So that we cannot understand.
Okay. For mathematician also it is difficult to understand, and for social science people also it is difficult to understand.
Yes, they are known as black box calculations.
Okay. Thank you.
So what we can do is, while formulating a problem or while giving the data, we can take care that those biases are removed. So that is the main thing a social scientist can do.
Okay.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, ma'am.
I would like to acknowledge your expertise in the subject matter and the efforts you have taken to explain it through the appealing presentation. Thank you once again, sir. Now, joining us for the second session is Dr. Alison Binger and Ms. Dorothy Jubity Hassan. Dr. Binger is a professor in the Met department at University of People. She is a PhD in Global and Comparative Studies in Education education. She has done extensive research on the interdependence of arts and culture competency in global education and role of multilingualism in cultural awareness. She has an experience of teaching the visual arts to students in the USA and other countries. MAM has developed innovative methods to immerse culture into the minds of young artists through regional and global projects. Sharing the platform with Dr. Binga is Ms. Dorothy Jubity Hassan, Professor at the University of People, teaching English composition and online education strategies. Ms. Hassan holds a MA in TESOL and is interested in building the language and employability skills of adult English language learners through integrated education and training. Her culturally responsive teaching skills have been curated through 13 years of international teaching experience and personal experience as a second language learner. Ms. Hassan is a true equity advocate trained in trauma informed care and diversity, equity, and inclusion. It is a privilege to have such dynamic guests to present on the topic increasing global collaborations, cultural competencies, and the visual arts in higher education as a platform for international innovations for a better and more beautiful world. I request y'all to proceed. Dr. Binga, you're not audible.
Oh, goodness. Thank you.
It's fine now.
I am coming to you from the eastern side of the United States in the state of Pennsylvania. So it's actually morning here. So good morning, good afternoon, good evening to you all.
And good afternoon, everyone. I'm giving my regards from Egypt. We are afternoon, so it's an absolute pleasure to share with so many passionate professionals from around the globe. Thank you again for this opportunity.
Yes, thank you. So let me try and share my screen. Okay. So Dorothy and I are going to present today. The title of our presentation is Increasing Global Collaborations, Cultural Competencies, and the Visual Arts in Higher Education as a platform for international creative innovations for a better, more beautiful world. So there we go. Our agenda today, we'll talk first about what we can do together when we combined culture and the arts. And then we'll talk about cultural competency and what that is, what it means, what it looks like. I'll give you some examples of cultural competency in classrooms, what it looks like. Maybe you've had some, maybe you haven't had any. And then we'll talk to you about the visual arts, art and education, the need for art in classrooms around the world, and visual art ideas for classrooms. And then we'll end our presentation. So to start, I wanted to say that combining cultural competency and arts can allow us to create wonderful innovations, as we were learning in the presentation before ours. But to do this, we have to have an understanding of culture to bring cultures together. The more minds together, the better. But we need to understand each other's cultures so we can communicate effectively. And then we also all need to have an understanding of art, the basics of art, the elements of art, and the principles of art. And then we can work together to create all kinds of innovations Specifically, we're going to talk today about sculptures that are like help produce sustain. So I am going to show you a short clip, and we'll see if this works.
I'm Heather McElhatton, and this is A Beautiful World.
When it comes to renewables, it's not a question of nice to have. The world of the 21st century need to have more renewables. We've seen here in Denmark, it is doable. We see it in Europe.
That's Connie Hedegaard, former European Commissioner for Climate Action, talking about the world's increasing need for renewable energy sources.
I think in order to scale things up, it would be so good to have some more input from artists, from creative thinking people who know how to landscape things in a better manner, who can show the attractive visions, who can show that to take climate change seriously, it's not about gloom and doom. It can be a positive vision. It can create beauty. It can create something that all of us would like to be a part of.
Well, many new renewable energy technologies exist, and many people support them in theory. Not everybody wants black glass solar panels on their roof or a big wind turbine in their yard. Robert Ferry is an architect specializing in renewable energy technologies and knows about it firsthand.
Well, we want to change that conversation. We want people to want renewable energy infrastructure next to where they live and work. We want to make it sexy. We want to make it something that people want to have and learn about the technologies at the same time that they're living with them and among them.
Ferry began a competition back in 2010 to create sustainable energy art. That's artwork that can produce industrial scale clean energy. And the competition is called LAGI, the Land Art Generator Initiative.
The Land Art Generator Initiative, or LAGI for short, is a global initiative to invite creatives around the world to imagine the beauty of our renewable energy landscapes of the future.
LAGI is held in a new location every other year and has several other ongoing projects around the globe. But the goal is always to create public art that also generates power at a utility scale. Imagine a work of art or a sculpture that can also power your house. It's called solutions-based art, and Elizabeth Minoian, Robert's wife and co-founder of LAGI, says that artists, architects, and designers worldwide are excited about it.
The submissions were really fantastic. It took our breath away to see that teams came together around this idea. So we asked for something and they did it. It struck a chord.
The designs that LAGI has developed are global, massive, and beautiful, like the structure called Light Sanctuary, set in a vast desert outside Dubai, where a long snaking sheet of orange solar film wraps back and forth across itself like huge ribbon candy. Only this candy isn't just sweet to look at, it also generates 450 megawatts of renewable energy. And also take The Pipe, which was presented at this year's competition in California. It's a huge glass and metal cigar-shaped structure that rolls gently in the waves off Santa Monica Pier, glinting elegantly in the sun and using only wind, wave, and solar power to collect, desalinate, and create fresh drinking water. Now, these are just a couple of the designs that LAGI has produced. Barry says there is a beautiful world of more renewable energy art out there waiting.
A lot of the message about climate change is a bit doom and gloomy. You've got these warming heat map projections of the planet through the end of the century. You've got projections of water sea level rise engulfing coastal cities. And while those things are true and scientific fact, dwelling on that sometimes has the effect of turning people off or having them sort of kind of resign to this terrible fate. This doesn't have to be doom and gloom. This is something we can all desire to have, and it can make our world beautiful, and we can actually turn the tide on this process to get.
So these renewable energy sculptures are all over the world. It's a fairly new concept. And as we're talking about in this presentation, there's two main things that we have to know, how to interact culturally and also about the arts. There are these sculptures, like I said, are all over the world. And they're different levels. Sometimes they're massive and they can produce large amounts of energies for cities, or they might be small. This first image here is a solar lamp, and it is in Austria, and it is a sculpture also. And they have these so that we're not using resources that aren't renewable. And this second one image is a sculpture, and it helps produce energy through wind turbines. The last two that I just showed you were, I believe, like 2012, 2014 time. This picture here, this one is 2021. This is one of the newest ones, and it is in the United States, but it can be moved to any location. You can also, this produces energy and large scale energy for large areas of cities. I think this is in the Nevada desert. It can be moved around, but you can also like play on it, walk on it, and then they have it created like a mountain structure. So the first thing we want to talk about is cultural competencies, and there are several competencies that you should have. One is knowing your own culture as well as knowing other cultures. The second one is suspending judgment. The third is synthesizing multiple perspectives and recognizing that your perspective is just one in millions. Then respecting differences, and then leading with courage and empathy. Let me see if I can get this next video playing. This is on cultural competence. So there's a need for cultural competency for several reasons. One, there's been a dramatic increase in global communication through technology, and we've seen this for many years now. Just this conference in itself is amazing, that we can be in different locations around the world and communicating and talking and showing presentations, exchanging ideas as we are right now. And also there is social issues of inequity, prejudice, and that there's a breakdown in communication because of this. To provide a platform, this will also help us provide a platform for global creative innovations. So first we can look at where we personally are on our cultural knowledge or cultural competency. Milton Bennett has created a scale. It's called Cultural Sensitivity Scale. And there's 6 phases that he has found. The first 3 are called ethnocentric. The last 3 are called ethno-relative. So in the ethnocentric scale, there's denial, defense, and minimalism. And so I'm going to talk about each of them and sort of picture yourself where you are on this scale. And you could be a little bit here and a little bit there, or go in and out of these areas. It's just important for you to be aware of it and recognize how you fit into the scale. So the first one is denial of culture. And you have the thinking of your experience is the only real or valid experience. The second one is called defense or defensive. It is the feeling that we are superior, or that thought in your mind that you are superior. It's very highly critical. Also, there's a lot of judgment in the defense stage. And then there's the minimalization, and it is other cultures are trivialized or romanticized. Like maybe you take a vacation to an area and you love the area. It's a very surface level understanding of culture because you're not getting to the depth of what that culture actually is, the belief systems. The next 3 are ethno-relative. The first one is acceptance, and it's that you accept that there are other cultures in existence, and you are curious and you're respectful. So we definitely want to be heading toward ethno-relative scale, and acceptance is the first one. And then adaptation is the next one, and you're able to see culture through different eyes. You're able to recognize that there are differences. And you even can adapt and change your behavior to be respectful. So that's adaptation. And then the last one is integration, where you can easily move in and out of various cultural views. You have a good understanding of it. There's very little judgment. We all should want to get to the integrative stage, especially if you're collaborating universally or with people on different levels. Even if you're not, it's still super important that we are respectful to each other and understand each other. So is there cultural competencies in your classrooms? Have you seen this anywhere? The first one is knowing your culture. So that would look like being an understanding of what foods you eat, clothes you wear, language or languages that you speak, religions, how you go about your day, what the architecture looks like around you, climate, all of that plays into your culture. And then knowing other cultures, it's the same thing, like foods you eat, clothes, languages, except for ones that aren't your own. So it's different than you. Suspending judgment, practice techniques that teach you to react, such as managing your emotions and balancing that with facts instead of just a reaction without thinking involved. Pausing and breathing, that helps when you're interacting with something that makes you uncomfortable or you're not quite sure how to react. Consider consequences of your choices. Maybe get other people's perspectives. And one of the best ways is to train and plan on how to react when you encounter differences that make you uncomfortable. Gathering and synthesizing other viewpoints is another cultural competency, and ways you can do this is learning how to listen instead of just talking. So it's a talking and a listening that goes back and forth. Check your ideas against facts. Check others' ideas against facts. Use science-based thinking rather than opinions. And look at other views as well as your own views. Respecting differences is another cultural competency. Teaching how to listen, be present, address mistakes, and respecting others' boundaries. They might be different than yours. And empathy, focusing on the welfare of others, putting yourself in other people's shoes, and use reflection. So the next part is on the arts and education. I'm going to hand it over to Dorothy.
When traditionally we've been talking about art education as a supplement, and it's always an extra, it's an extracurricular, but we challenge you today to explore making art education a core part of curriculum. Art education is defined as the process of teaching and learning how to create and produce the visual and performing arts, and how to understand and evaluate the work created by others. So when we're talking about art education, we cannot deny sharing with the students, young and old, elements of art. We talk about lines, shapes, form, value, texture, space. We also have to talk about the principles of design. We talk about patterns, we talk about balance, we talk about scale. And this is the core of arts education. Why do we need art education? Again, I plowed right in and I challenged you to make art education a part of your core curriculum. Why? Art education, it fosters creativity. It assists in the generation of innovation, which allows students the ability to see a problem in a new way. So you don't have a whole new generation of students looking at problems just the same way. You're never going to encourage anyone to think of new creative solutions. Innovation. When we talk about innovation, it's different than creativity. It's the next step. If we talk about scaffolding, we have creativity, and then we have innovation. Innovation is the act of turning that creativity into a product, into a deliverable. Creativity, innovation, and aesthetics are important. It teaches our children how to develop our world into a safer, more comfortable, and happier place. During the global pandemic, so many of us, the circumstances were not what we wanted, but we finally got a chance to sit back in our own silence and think about the things that make us feel safe, the things that make us feel comfortable and happy. So that is an important part of art education. So going beyond theory, how do we see visual art ideas in the classroom? Again, we challenge you to see art education as a cross-discipline core curriculum feature. So it doesn't have to be just art class where you see visual arts. Let's look at drawing and self-portraits. Self-portraits can be a great icebreaker for young and more mature students. Let the students draw self-portraits and introduce themselves to you, the instructor, and to their peers in the classroom with something that represents how they want to be seen. Painting, we can use tempera, acrylic, oil, and paint flowers. When we're talking about COVID and the pandemic and social distancing and quarantining confined so many of us to our own spaces. And with that, you can teach students that regardless of how big or small their space is, when we're talking about different students from different backgrounds, different income restrictions, they can make their space beautiful through painting flowers, weaving, string, yarn, cloth, tapestry projects. Thankfully, again, we are talking to in a conference that is sponsored by a university that is just already embedded inside of a rich culture that has weaving and tapestry a part of that rich culture that identifies some of the history and the story and the grace that is attached with that culture. So again, we can use weaving to allow students to identify and share their own culture, and also an exchange project where we allow students to learn about other history, other cultures' history, the history of different lands and places without, outside of a history book. So again, remember that I said visual art spans across disciplines. Sculpture, paper, wood, plastic, metal. Again, all of this is so very current. While we were inside of our lecture today, we just there was a news feed in the United States that a prominent statue was just removed inside of Richmond, Virginia. And because that city served as a capital of Confederacy during the Civil War, we see how much prominent sculptures can hold and what a standing figure it says and represents what people stand for, what they did, and the direction they're going. So again, cross disciplines. In seminars and webinars like this, again, we know that if you're here today, you already understand this proverb, but we would be remiss if we didn't vocalize it. If you want to go fast, go alone. If you want to go far, go together. So globalization took our world from here to there. And the COVID pandemic took our world from here to here. Every single person across the globe was in the exact same circumstance. We were all just sitting, praying in whatever way we saw best to pray and to find guidance for the safety and the health of ourselves, our families, and our loved ones. And with that, let us take forward that when we combine brains and intellectual capital, we can get so much further. Thank you again, all of you, so very much for your attention today, and we'd be happy to entertain any questions.
Dr. Alison and Ms. Hassan, you have given us such sublime thoughts to reflect upon. It indeed was an exceptional presentation, which was meticulously synchronized with the videos. So if participants have any questions, the platform is open for the participants. You have explained the topic so well that there are no questions from the participants. Truly, art speaks where words are unable to explain. And when you take technology and mix it with art, it always is a blend of something beautiful and innovative. This is what we have learned from your talk, ma'am. Thank you very much to both of you.
Thank you.
Now I invite a third speaker, Mr. Majid Gomainy. Sir is a professor at University of People since 2016. He has been enlightening minds with his 18 years of teaching experience in several universities and in different countries. He has earned a bachelor's degree in computer engineering, master's degree in software engineering, and is currently completing his PhD. Mr. Gomainy has published 5 books in the programming field and many papers in national journals on artificial intelligence and its application, with extensive experience in intelligent systems, neural networks, and machine learning. Sir is a versatile persona, managing responsibilities as programmer, system analyst, project manager, and most recently as a researcher in the R&D department of the Complex Dynamics Group at Middle East Technical University. Sir, it is a matter of pride for us to have you delivering your talk today on the topic, how will humanities and social sciences affect future education and careers? Mr. Gomainy, I humbly request you to illuminate on us. Over to you, sir.
Thank you so much, Semrallah, if I'm calling you correctly, for introducing, and thank you everybody for giving me this opportunity to talk about my title and presentation. Dr. Lionel, Dr. Thomas, Dr. Dilip, and etc. And good evening to United States. Good morning to the United States. Good evening to the India. Also here in Turkey is evening. Okay, let's go on. First, let me share my screen. Okay, are you seeing my screen? Is it visible?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so let me go on. As you mentioned, the title for my presentation is How Will Humanities and Social Sciences Affect the Future Education and Careers? So these are the agenda I plan to explain. We will give you can you see the next slide? Now I'm in agenda.
Participants, please turn off your mic.
Please mute your microphone.
Turn off your mic.
I am in the agenda screen. Do you see my next screen? I mean, the slide is going on or not?
Yes, we see it, sir.
Okay, so let's go on. And I will give you a brief introduction, and we will talk about why study humanities, and then we will make a comparison of the humanities and social sciences with other educational fields. And we look at how the needs are changing in the club and the lack of interdisability for case. And finally, I will give you an example, real world example. Okay, now let us have a brief introduction. As you know, the humanity and social sciences can be useful to have a historical and contemporary focus and may range from the personal to global extent and consider challenges for the future. The role of these educational fields is huge in the future life. Let us see how. So, first, let us see why we have to study humanity. I mean, what is the advantages when we are studying humanity? First, the education in humanities and social sciences will lead you to a number of career options. I mean, there are a variant and wide range of the possible careers that you can obtain after your education. You will be well equipped with the latest skills such as communications, creativity, critical thinking, problem solving, and so on. These are very important. Those are most in demand by the recruiters. I mean, today, employees are searching for this potential. In the coming slide again, I will mention why. Okay, also the world today, as you know, is rapidly changing as we became more globally connected. This opens the road to the various non-automated employment opportunities which cannot be performed by machines. Likewise, humanity streams subjects go hand in hand with other areas of study. Moreover, a combination of soft skills and hard skills becoming imperative in the most workspace nowadays. Therefore, a degree in humanity or social sciences would equip the students with the skills that are significant to succeed and thrive the competitive workspace of the future. Here I have two statistics that are very important. First is the latest statistic, 82% of the employees consider life skills such as problem solving, critical thinking, and the major employment skills. Employees seek potential workers' ability to think, creativity, and find solutions to problems. Hence, the relevance of the basic life skill and thinking out of the box in higher than it was decades ago. Another percentage, again, is very important, that is according to the Association of American College and University, AACU, and says almost 73% of the recruiters say that they would recommend 21st century humanities education for students to prepare today's young students for success in. So these are very important issues. Now let us see, when you are going to study humanity, what skills you will develop. These are four important developments. First of all is creative and critical thinking. It is important to have the ability to think out of the box, challenge the status quo, raise questions, and ask the right questions. And observation, again, is the next ability, is very important. The ability to take notice of key facts and important events around, as well as awareness of small to bigger aspects, are both beneficial in short run and long run. The next one is empathy and insight. Empathy is important not only in the workplace, but also in one's personal life. I mean, most of the skills and most of the develops in the humanities are also very important for the personal life. Learning in depth about the human life and culture makes one more acceptable and understanding. And finally, the communications, again, is one of the most important. One of the most important skills to have the irrespective of the field. One is in communication. Communication is the basis of the all our interaction and is perhaps the most valuable skill one picks up studying. So in the coming slide, I will say how the communication between the different expertise in the organization will be analytical. Here I have, again, I have a table. This table is come from the PayScale website, and I'm going to show the amount of the salaries potential for the some of the top titles from the humanities. For example, I select four. One is proposal manager, content marketing manager, content strategist, director of the development. As you see, almost they are in very high range of the salary. So again, it's another reason to continue education in humanities. Okay, now let us have a comparison between the humanities and the other educational fields. Actually, engineering, medicine, and the management and the similar education fields are single-purpose educational fields. That is, they are only used in the specific expertise area. And they are more expertise with a unique specialty, and it would not be enough for the future needs. If consider in an organization, there are a group of people working together in this different expertise. So there is a communication gap between them. And the humanities and social science can fill the gap between them and make a better connectivity. So that in the developed countries, excellent students are chosen for humanities and social science. So the important role of them is very clear in the future careers. Now let's just see, needs are changing. This is the next slide. Needs are changing. As you know, everything is changing, even the needs. I mean, in the future, the needs are not the needs that today we have as we will face. Today, education should be based on the future needs and the requirements. And the output of the university should feed those demands. So, for example, if you are going to graduate after 4 years or 5 years, you will see what are the needs at that time, not now. So, new transition and evolution in today's world have increased the need for humanities experts more than before. As you see in the recent years, the number of graduates from the humanities and social science are more important rather than before. And the result of recent investigation and research show more investment into this educational field. There are many papers, I don't want to list them, but as you check my references, you will see the percentage and the amount of that investment in Europe and United States. In the next slide, I'm going to talk about the lack of interdisciplinary focus. As you know, there are many interdisciplinary education fields, and they are very important. They have an important role to fill the gap of connection between different experts. For example, a very sensible example is about as you know, in the hospital, we have many instruments, electronic and computer instruments that are used in the hospital. So there is a close relation and connection between medicine and engineering. So engineers have their own expertise and the physician have their own expertise. So they cannot be used together. And if we are going to make together in the same organization, they need to be able to connect to each other. So that's why the interdisciplinary education fields are generated, and they can make a connection between different expertise and make the better performance in the area. Today, there are many interdisciplinary education fields that have enable emphasis to satisfy current and future careers. So we know that there are many interdisciplinary educational fields. For example, one leg in another area, another leg in another area, and a combination of those expertise can make a better combination. And in the same way, the vacuity and the demand for the interdisciplinary education fields with the combination of the humanities and social science with other fields are quite tangible. So again, we feel we need many interdisciplinary educational fields, that one leg is inside the humanity and social science, and another leg can be in different field of educational and expertise. Uh, Now let me give you a example of the real world, that is the crisis management of the COVID-19. Unfortunately, all of us engage in a global disaster these days. Some countries are doing well in their crisis management and some are not. So due to the reporters, we hear from the news, we can see they are not saying their policy and method against this disaster. Despite the economic power, and regardless of having advanced technologies or skilled physicians, the countries that were more successful were the communities that are pioneers in the humanities and social science. Actually, I don't want to name any country, but very clearly we can see those countries that are very good in the controlling of this disaster are not the countries with the, for example, skilled physicians or with the advanced technology or a good power of economy and etc. So the management and the controlling is another perspective that is related to the humanities and social science. Well, the last sentence we can say, humanities degree are highly useful and actually do teach skills that are relevant for people who want to earn a living. And in addition to the argument that studying the human condition increases empathy and make us a better people. And the last word, I want to bring to your attention the Martha's important sentence that says, imagination is an innate gift, but it needs refinement and cultivation. This is what the humanities provide. So again, another reason of the humanities is these are my references, and thank you so much for listening to me. And if any question, please.
Sir, thank you for enlightening us with such a relevant issue and pulling people's attention towards a subject like humanities, which has potential scope. Your comparison with humanities and social studies as a bridging gap between the sciences is a very realistic approach. I would like the participants to ask their queries to Sir. Shall we go ahead, Sir? As I don't see any questions in the chat box. So the ideas you discussed will definitely help the youth to have a different outlook to make better informed decisions for their future. Thank you, sir, very much.
You are welcome. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Now we move to our next speaker, Dr. Srikant Prabhu, an associate professor of Department of Computer Science and Engineering, MIT Manipal. He has a master's in mathematics, MTech in computer science and data processing from Indian Institute of Technology, Kharagpur, and PhD in retinal biometric pattern analysis system. He has been passionately teaching engineering, mathematics, digital electronics, designing of operating systems, and a wide spectrum of subjects at MIT Manipal. His noteworthy contribution to society is his project, Face Recognition System for Criminal Identification using Distributed Computed. And currently, he is working on facial analysis, cyber forensic software development with Department of Forensic Medicine and Toxicology, KMC Manipal, in coordination with SIFS New Delhi and on various bioinformatics projects. In recognition of his intellectual prowess, he has received awards like Distinguished Toastmaster Award, Triple Crown Award, Distinguished Club Coach Award, Toastmaster International USA. He has also received multiple Paul Harris Fellow from Rotary International USA. Sir, you are truly an inspiration, and it is a pleasure to have you with us. Dr. Prabhu will be elaborating on the topic Power of Arts and Science in the Contemporary Era. Over to you, sir.
Are you able to see the screen? Okay.
So I can see that you're presenting, but I do not see any slideshow.
Yeah. Yeah. Now, are you able to listen to me? Am I
Yes.
audible?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now, are the slides visible?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Power of arts and science in contemporary era. So this is
Yes,
me.
sir.
This is me, and thank you for the introduction, ma'am. This is a very apt topic from Indian conditions. Arts and science in contemporary era. Because what we see in our conditions is or are, technology has been too much attached with engineering, or technology has been too much attached with clinical sciences. But according to me, and also according to global standards, and slowly now it is coming inside India also, arts and science plays a very big role in technology. Meaning, if you take the negation of this statement, if arts and science are not there, and that too, if arts is not there, technology is not there. So there are three words which often I coin: science, society, and technology. Science means abstraction, society means idea, technology means product. And when we say society is an idea, it is also called engineering. So many a times it's a miscoined word that engineering is for placements. The answer is no. Engineering is an idea, and it is linked with arts and science. All right. So it has got the power to shape technology to make products. And if a product is made to make different evolutions, to make different increments, to make different iterations, everything comes from art. And then science, then society, and then technology. Right. Now, what do you mean by arts and humanities in short? So here also, we say arts is writing an essay, or arts is writing a poem, or arts is describing a sarcasm, or arts is English phonetics. Or if you go to humanities, you might say humanities is system dynamics. You're trying to optimize an article. The article is written by somebody, you correct it, the English grammars are corrected, and then you optimize. It doesn't stop there. Can you extend it further to technology? Because when a technology is made, you have to have a case study. And a case study is a design of experiment. And what is a design of experiment? It is given in terms of paragraphs, like a story. And I call a story to be a metaphor. Right? So basically, when you say arts in technology, they are all metaphors. They are all paragraphs in which all the masalas are written in such a way that a layman can understand what the product is. So you have a product, say a bulb, or say a cycle, or say Google, or say Guruji, or say Yahoo, anything, or BMW. Now you need to describe it. So how do you describe it? As a paragraph, as a collection of characters, words, and then paragraph. So in computer science and engineering, now we have a subject called as natural language processing. So can we describe any product in terms of a paragraph which we used to call as case study, and that paragraph should generate meanings. So I will show you certain case studies at the end. So it requires lot of thinking, right? A lot of innovative ideas, and also a lot of skills, not of engineering, because engineering is or are only ideas. It requires skills of arts and humanities, right? Now next is science and technology. So I already said science is abstraction, physics, mathematics, and chemistry. So all of us have studied these three subjects: mass, gravity, calculus, probability, permutation combinations, aquaregia, which comes in chemistry, 3 times concentrated HCl and once concentrated HNO3. These are all taught in schools and also in Bachelor of Science or Bachelor of Technology or Bachelor of Engineering, wherein we learn the basics of life. What are the basics of life in terms of a body, in terms of chemicals, in terms of numbers? Body, chemicals, numbers. So when I say body or bodies, it becomes physics. Chemical or chemicals, it becomes chemistry. Number or numbers, it becomes mathematics. Now look, if at all we have to link all these three concepts, physics, mathematics, and chemistry, we require arts. It's a basic art or talent, or arts or talents, to connect a body to a number, or to connect chemical or chemicals to a number or numbers, and then to connect all these three components. So the holistic approach to connect physics, mathematics, and chemistry, which is abstraction, which gives rise to idea or ideas, which is society or engineering, and then directly it gives rise to a product, lies in arts and humanities. All right. So metaphors have to be very clear. So how do we design those metaphors? I will show some of the case studies which we had designed long back when I was in IIT, right? Okay. Now these are the two ways you can show metaphors. Not two ways. The first way I am saying, through images, right? So I have an image on my left side and on the right side. So on the left side you can see ocean. Now if somebody asks you, what do you conclude by looking at ocean? So one person from the audience might say, I can assume a ship going on the ocean. I can assume a ship going on the ocean. It's an English sentence. It generates a meaning. Now what is the meaning? I can assume a ship going on the ocean. It becomes a rule. There are connectors, right? So the meaning is, there might be a ship which is moving on the ocean. इस समुद्र में एक जहाज है, in Hindi translation. So now everybody of you have understood there is a meaning generated. And how did we generate this meaning? By making one rule. Now what do we call rules in technology? Rules are basically made up of predicates attached by either or and. Like, I can assume a ship and this ship is going on the ocean. It will be wrong to say I can assume a ship or this ship is going on the ocean, because ship has to go on the ocean. So both the predicates, that is, I can assume a ship is one predicate, the other predicate is the ship is going on the ocean. Both should be true. If both have to be true, all of us in the audience, we know the connector will be and. Now, if you look at this through an English sentence, it becomes an art. If you look at this in terms of technology, it becomes electronics, because I am using two predicates, predicate 1, predicate 2, connected by or and. So this is how we look at a document. If you extend one statement to a collection of statements, to a collection of words, it becomes a paragraph. And from a paragraph, we can generate a meaning or meanings. A very classical example, 1 year back, 2 employees from Google United States of America, California dropped out, and they are Indians, and they have started a software on the lines of Google which is called Niva. So Niva is a new version. It's a Desi Indian version of search engine called as Google, like what is there called Baidu in China. Because Guruji failed in India, now we are getting this new concept. And how this is made? In the same way. They have made many images which they developed when they were working in Google, these two employees. And when they dropped out, they collected all these images and they generated rules. Could be on oceans, could be on aeroplanes, could be on railways, could be on smart cities, could be on roads, could be on hospitals. Now, they collected all the predicates. Something like, in a hospital, there is a ward. So this is what? An English sentence. So this has to be generated by a person from arts. In a hospital, there is a ward. So an arts guy can understand and write this English sentence. Then if it has to be converted to technology, in this hospital, there is a room and this room is a ward. So in this hospital, there is a room, it becomes a predicate. And the second predicate is, it is a ward. And these two predicates are connected by connector, what is called as and. And means compulsorily predicate 1 and predicate 2 have to be true. Look now, a guy from arts who writes an English sentence and a technologist who collects this English sentence in terms of two predicates and connects them through connectors, it sends a logical meaning. Now, what is the logical meaning? There is a story which is a metaphor, and this metaphor is connected to a logical conclusion, saying that through a surveillance camera in a hospital, I or we can see a ward. Because if we are to automate this English sentence, naturally we have to have an accessory. What is an accessory? It can be a computer, a laptop, surveillance camera, or it could be a television, etc., etc. Similarly, I have got another image which is a character, capital A. Now, if at all I ask you a question, what is character used for, or what are the collection of characters used for, you will perhaps say, sir or madam, a character or a collection of characters can generate a word, or a character or a set of characters can generate a signature, both. Now look, if an arts guy sits, right, and say wants to write a poem. Now what is this poem all about? This poem basically says, what does a search engine contain? It contains images, Bollywood movies, Hollywood movies, collection of political leaders' speeches, collection of automobiles. So a small poem, right, which generates a meaning of any one person or a set of persons, so that people who can listen through audio, because even Google has audio, can make certain meanings, and it generates a holistical preview. So this is how we look at arts and technology. The collection, the connection of arts to technology comes through two words. One is predicate or predicates. The second word is connector or connectors. So without predicates and connectors, arts and technology makes no sense. You have to have both this, then arts and technology works fine. All right. So I showed you these two, and perhaps I'm very sure you can understand, if at all any picture is shown to you, what does it mean? Now, who does this work these days, specifically in the Indian conditions? All right. From the Indian conditions perspective, these are all done by people, say, in the HR side, human resource side, or a psychologist, or even could be a psychiatrist, who are trying to treat the patients of different ailments. So there are two applications. One goes towards technology, another goes towards healthcare technology. So technology which you look only from technical perspective. Second is technology which you look from healthcare perspective. So in two ways you have applications where you can apply arts and humanities, and sky is your limit. All right. Now look at this picture. Arts. What does it generate in terms of technology, management, and clinical sciences? It is automobiles, aeronautics, tribology, ergonomics, mathematics, work studies, system dynamics, management, clinical sciences. Now, how does it generate automobiles? Rules. You have to make rules. Now, what are these rules? Say a chassis box and wheels and axle and brake and gear and steering, etc., etc. You connect all the predicates and you generate one automobile. You have assembled one automobile. So for assembling one automobile, you require one story. In the story, you have predicates and which are connected by connectors. Those connectors can be or and basically. So that comes in electronics, but words are from English. And or and basically. All right. Same way aeronautics. How do you say in aeronautics? A fuselage, a cockpit, a EE box, engine, flaperons. First, you need to know the components. So there should be people from industrial engineering who will tell the arts people that these are the components. Now, once you understand what are the components and where they are placed, then you can make a case study for generating one plane. And that is what is called component modeling. Mathematical modeling will come into picture. Now, what is tribology, right? First, you need to understand these words, then you can apply arts in terms of a case study. Now, when you say tribology, it can be applied in healthcare or it can be applied on materialistic objects. Now, how in healthcare? Say in the heart, cholesterol plaques are formed. So the blood flow is not proper. There is friction between blood and the cholesterol hills, bad cholesterol hills. So now how do you describe this? There is a vessel and there is a big hill formed by bad cholesterol and there is friction between blood and bad cholesterol. So there is an aneurysm being formed. There is a swelling in the vessel. So if the patient doesn't take care, there can be an explosion and there can be a heart attack. So see the case study how I described in English sentences. Now, for an arts guy to understand, an arts guy has to sit with a clinical doctor, could be a cardiologist, and the cardiologist will explain what are the different predicates. Predicates means words or sentences. Sentence 1, heart. Sentence 2, blood. Sentence 3, cholesterol. Sentence 4, friction. A sentence can be only one word or a collection of words. Then you connect them and generate a meaning. So once you get a paragraph or a case study, that can generate a product afterwards. Product design is not the work of an arts guy. That is a work of a technologist or what you call in broad quotes an engineering guy. It can be a lady or it can be a gent, whatever you call it to be. Next, ergonomics. Now, what do you mean by ergonomics for an arts guy to understand? Now, you want to design an aeroplane. Inside aeroplane, you have got lots of seats. How will you design those seats so that customers are comfortable? They don't get spine problem. They don't get varicose veins. They don't get pain in the legs. So the design of chairs and where do you place them? Imagine now how many predicates I'm generating. So I'm explaining to the arts people all different predicates. They will collect all these predicates and generate sentences and paragraphs and make a document. And these documents will be stored in one place in the cloud, CLOUD in computer science. It is called as natural language processing. Many a times it can be translated as neuro-linguistic programming also. Both are NLPs basically, all right? Okay, clinical sciences. Now clinical sciences depends on all these technological subjects or departments, whatever you call it to be. So clinical sciences have got lot of aspects with arts. Now how I'll tell you. In clinical, you have totally clinical or paraclinical. Now, what is paraclinical? Life sciences, allied health sciences who work on, say, tissue culture, who work on pathology. They don't directly work on the patients or they don't directly work on the surgical side. So the people who are working on tissues, cell cultures, etc., they require a lot of paragraphs and case studies. Similarly, management. Let me come to system dynamics. System dynamics is the most important part which has to be understood by any arts guy or a humanities guy. What do you mean by system dynamics? It is optimization. Either you maximize or minimize. So you understand maximize, jada karo, minimize, kam karo, balance between maximum and minimum. It is called as balance, right? So basically there are three words which an arts guy can use: maximum, minimum, and balance. And finally at the end of the case study, he or she should say there is a perfect balance in the system or whatever you call it to be. All right. Now I'll show you certain case studies. How does it look like? And I'll summarize and I'll leave for the questions afterwards. Okay. All right. Show the next one, right? One second. Right. I hope you're able to see it, everybody. You're able to see it? I hope. Right.
Yes, sir.
You're able to see it, right? Now look. I
Yes,
will
sir.
show you one case study now. Please read this. Time management software. So there is one case study. These case studies have been designed using one subject called as design of experiments, right? Very professionally designed, right? At one of the premier institutes. Just read it. It's a paragraph. And we require people who are good in English, good in humanities, and who understand what is paragraphing, what is an essay, what is sarcasm, and what is phonetics, basically in English. All right. Now look at this paragraph, read it carefully. Right. Read it carefully. I think I have time for one case study full. Right. Time management system. It starts from here, it ends here. Meetings. I gave you 2 minutes time. Read it carefully. So there has to be a software made. A software product has to be made from this paragraph. So this paragraph has been designed by people who are good in English. And this paragraph generates many logical meanings. There are a lot of predicates and there are connectors, right? Without predicates and connectors, you don't have arts and technology, all right? So technology depends on arts depends on technology. And when I say arts, it includes humanities also. And in humanities, the most important subject today is system dynamics. And the second one is work study. It comes from industrial engineering. So it directly, either you say humanities or industrial engineering. So humanities, according to me, is nothing but industrial engineering. Industrial engineering is nothing but humanities, according to me. Meaning might be different for somebody else, because the department from where I passed out is industrial engineering and management. Today it is called industrial and systems engineering. Read the paragraph carefully, all of you, and feel proud that if you're an arts graduate or a humanities graduate, you have a lot to do in technology for product designs. All right, look at it, read it. I give you another 2 minutes. Have you gone through the case study, all of you? Please read it carefully. I'm going to ask you certain questions. The first question to all of you is, what are the requirements for this problem? A software has to be made, and you understand what is a software, right? It is a graphical user interface, because all of you have used softwares. Now from this English paragraph, I want to know the requirements, basically. You can imagine those requirements to be buttons on the graphical user interface, because very often you use buttons on the computer screen, right? Which can be even folders, folder what we call on the Microsoft Windows desktop. That is also a graphical user interface. All right. Now my first question is, what are the different requirements for making this software? From this English paragraph, I want to know at least 3 requirements. What are your answers? Right. So let me ask it on the screen. Am I getting the screen there? Yes. Yes, please.
Yes,
what are
sir.
the different requirements? First requirement. Anybody? First requirement. Yes, please. First requirement. I'll show you the case study once again, if at all you have missed it. What's the first requirement? Or let me ask you, before asking this question, what is this problem doing? Yeah. What is this problem doing? Time management software. Can you gauge by reading this paragraph, what is this problem doing? Or if at all you generate a product from this paragraph, what is that product doing? Paragraph comes from arts. Product is technology. All right. And lot of good insight has gone to design this design of experiment. Now it looks easy for all of you. But if this work is given to you to design a case study as a paragraph, it will take 1 year for you for any product design. Right? It takes time. So my question is, what is this paragraph doing? Right? Time management software. I want to answer from at least one of you or two. Yes, please. What is this doing? Please read it carefully. Yes, please. I want answers from you, at least two answers. What is this paragraph doing? First, I want to know that. Let me not go to the software product. What is this paragraph doing? Right. It's a collection of sentences. I'm seeing somebody is interested to give an answer. Yes, please. Go ahead.
It is explaining how and what type of product is needed.
Okay, then what else? Please read carefully.
Register the executives.
Register the executives. Yes, what else? There are certain grievances from customers to either one executive or more than one executive. Have you seen that? Certain grievances are there. So if the grievances have to be registered, what will the secretary do of the executive? Have you read that? See that? Now I given you a hint. Now read it carefully, more. Yes, register the executives. Right. That's the starting point. Ahead, if there is a grievance with one executive, the meeting is fixed between customer and the executive. If the grievance is more than one with more than one executive, then a common slot is found by the secretary, where say two executives can sit with the customer and the grievance is solved, or more than two customers. So see, there are a lot of predicates and connectors. This is what, if at all a arts graduate, if he or she wants to come into technology, and it is happening in India these days, specifically in forensic sciences, forensic companies, healthcare companies like GE Healthcare, Cerner Healthcare, or Philips, even Microsoft, Amazon. So they are looking for people who can make good predicates and connect those predicates with connectors so that the logical meaning is sent. I clearly told you in this example from the case study, if there is a grievance with one executive for a customer, then the secretary will directly put a meeting. If the grievance for the customer is with more than one executive, then the secretary has to find a common slot where all the executives can sit and handle those grievances. So these are all some of the requirements which you can jot down, and then you can say to a software engineer or to an industrial engineer that these are all my requirements. And all the requirements, each requirement, not all, each requirement will start from a verb followed by a noun. Like somebody said, register executive. What is register? It's a verb. What is executive? It's a noun. Verb followed by a noun. See, imagine how much of English is going into. Because remember, if you want to translate the requirement to a button on the graphical user interface on the computer screen, you cannot write an English sentence. Such softwares will not be bought by anybody. But MS Word, see, Microsoft Windows, that looks fantastic. MS PowerPoint, MS Excel, see, verb followed by a noun, adjective, noun, something like that. So this is where the power of English and arts comes into play, and it is not an easy job because these all have been done already. It looks very simple, but the main role comes from an arts graduate or could be a basic science graduate who can translate these predicates and connectors into a product. And finally, that needs marketing and finance. And that's where management comes into picture. So in short, this is what it is. I have got many more case studies which I can pass on to you, like judiciary information system, restaurant automation system, where fooding items are there, hotel automation software, where say booking of rooms is there. So I have got lots of case studies, lots of English sentences professionally designed using design of experiments. And DOE comes from humanities, basically. Not from mechanical. It's a subject basically in humanities. Even science, society, technology, it comes from humanities. So these subjects are basically offered by humanities department in the IITs, some of the IITs. So there is what is my view. Your views can be different sometimes. So it need not be from any department, but the way we look at things, way we start and way we end. So do we require arts and science in product development? And is sky the limit? My answer is yes. Over to you. Thank you very much. Any questions? Any questions?
Sir, may I ask one question, sir?
Thank you, Dr.
Yes.
Prabhu, for sharing your
Yes,
insights
please.
with us.
I'll answer while somebody's asking a question. Yes, please.
Hello,
Yes,
Yeah.
sir.
Yeah.
Achha, ma'am, please. Okay, sir. Actually, I belongs to Department of Music. Okay, sir. But this is art.
so you can go ahead with your question.
Yeah.
I belongs from a Department of Music. It
Yeah.
is a BA Arts in Humanities.
Yeah.
So along with music and with this software, something relation between in musical software or something, sir. Can you just suggest a little bit, sir? Just you just finish that one, sir.
That's a very good question. So
I just want to.
yeah. Sir, your name is Madhurja.
Yes.
Have you heard about musical stitching?
Yes, sir.
Have you heard about musical stitching? I have done that. Musical stitching. So okay. Do I have 2 minutes time?
Definitely, sir.
Do you have 2 minutes time? Now I'll show you one small piece. Right.
Please, sir.
It ends
Please.
with 2 minutes. Right. So I hope I'm not going to extend just 2 minutes. It's 8 to. I'll take 2 to 5 minutes maximum. Okay. Right. Okay. So now just listen to it. Right. This is my favorite piece, which I usually show.
Thank you, sir.
Right. And sky is the limit here. Sky is the limit. Right. Once again, I'll just. Are you able to see my desktop?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yeah. Are you able to listen? Are you able to listen?
No, sir.
Not able to listen?
No.
One second. Are you able to listen?
Yes, yes, sir. Little bit.
Yeah. Is it coming, voice?
Your voice is coming, sir, but music is not coming.
Music is not coming.
No, sir.
That is the problem of these social media, these softwares.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
I don't know where. That's okay. So, anyways, if it is not coming, I don't want to drag it there. Just would like to show you. I'll come back to the main screen there. Just a second. Right. Yeah, let me answer your question. So musical stitching is, see, the music which I played is played by Yanni. He plays synthesizer.
Yes, sir.
And he has created a Mozart effect in the Royal Society of Medicine. He has played at Acropolis in Greece, 93. He has played at Agra at Taj Mahal in 1996, Golden Jubilee year of Indian independence. He has played in different countries. And his musical pieces are like Santorini, Nostalgia. He has played a musical piece for his mother, Felitza, in all these performances.
Yes,
so
sir.
what needs to be done is now, you have to collect, say for Santorini, from Acropolis, you collect his first beat. Then from Taj Mahal, Santorini, collect his second beat. Then you go to Mandalay Bay in 2006, Santorini, collect his third beat and stitch it.
Wow.
First beat from one place, second beat from another place, third beat from third place. So basically, what are you doing? The role of DJ and RJ, disc jockeys and radio jockeys. Did you
Very
get the
good.
point? So
Yes, sir.
basically, you are writing a software code, right? And now English, how will it come into picture is all these musical pieces have got lyrics. It's a story. You can go through the lyrics like Santorini, Nostalgia, Within Attraction, Keys to Imagination. All these musical pieces he had played in different places from 1986, 1980. Even in Olympic Games, it is played.
Yes,
You
sir.
go and see how it is done in the Olympic Games. It is all automated. And who are the people who are sitting in Tokyo? They are all the arts graduates. They are all the humanities graduates.
Yes,
So
sir.
basically, they gel with the technologists and then they go ahead. Even this was tried in the Commonwealth Games in 2010 in Delhi, but they could not go ahead because the pricing went very high. So they stopped it. So the automation of these musical pieces with English, that is called as musical stitching. So we don't have to call the DJs and RJs. We just require supercomputers, which are high performance computers, right? So supercomputers which have got CPUs, GPUs, and APUs. So I will not talk more about it, device level parallelism and all other things, because this audience is more a diverse audience. So some may not be able to understand the computing part. So I will stop at that. So the application, what you said, is very much handy when it comes to arts and humanities. Please go ahead if you get a chance, and I am pretty sure you can get one very good project from the DST or DBT if you apply.
Thank you
Right?
so much, sir. Thank you
Right.
so much, sir.
I hope
And
I hope I gave the answer, and I hope
yeah,
it
definitely, sir.
suffice. Thank
Very
you.
rich answer, sir, you are giving. Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you. Bhalo, I hope you. I think you're from West Bengal, so I could make it out.
I am from Meghalaya, Shillong, sir.
Oh,
Assam.
great. Anyways, right. Thank you very much. Right. Convey my regards to all at Meghalaya also. Right.
Thank you so much, sir.
Right.
You're very excited your session, sir.
Yeah.
Thank you, Dr. Prabhu, for sharing your insights with us. The skill with which you led the audience through your talk and the analogies you cited to get the point through to the audience was simply impressive. From your talk, I can simply understand that technology is the story and art is the language or medium to share it. Thank you very much, sir. As we end today's program, I thank you very much.
Thank you. All the best. Best wishes to all
As
of
we
you.
come to the end of the events, As we come to the end of the events of the third day, on behalf of the organizing committee, I would like to take the opportunity to thank our speakers for the invaluable information they have imparted to us. It is their sincere efforts and hard work because of which we have greatly benefited. I would also like to extend my gratitude to the management and principal, Dr. Katie Thomas of SFS College and University Go Global, without whose collaboration this event wouldn't be possible. I thank all the audience for their active participation. We will meet tomorrow again at 6 p.m. IST for more thought-provoking sessions and paper presentations by academicians. A note for the participants, do remember to fill the feedback form. The link of the same will be shared in respective WhatsApp groups. Till then, stay safe and be happy. Thank you.